We're back again, the Black Cosmicnauts. I'm
Hey,
Chrissy. This is
I'm
Toy.
Toy.
Yeah. Um, we in here in this snowmageddon, just talking about that. So we relaxed today. We both got the hoodies on. We're gonna dive
Right.
into a very interesting conversation. Actually, the conversation was starting to get started, so I was like, I gotta record. Um, we're gonna get into labels and putting yourself in a box, especially when you start your spiritual journey. Um, it always starts somewhere. And I know I noticed, even with myself, I would gravitate to one thing and then I would label myself as that or not label myself as that. But once again, like we talked in the last episode, is keeping yourself open. And I think, keeping myself open stopped me from putting labels on myself, which
Mhm.
once again opened me up to explore different things on my spiritual journey. So that's what we're going to get
Mhm.
into today is not limiting yourself. This episode is going to be called No Limit Cosmic Knots because that's really how you should be
Right.
if you take this journey serious. So I'm gonna kick it off to you, Toy, because you was getting on some good points. So I hope you remembered some
I
of them.
remember.
But
Yeah, just
yeah, let's
just
go.
thinking back to when I really started to go on my spiritual journey. It's almost like you want to put yourself in a box. Like you want to say, "Oh, I'm a spiritualist," or "Oh, I'm a witch," or "I'm a conjure worker," or "I'm a root worker." It's like you want to do it as a sense of pride, but in doing that, you limit yourself so much because then it's like, okay, if you're a root worker, well, I can't get into mediumship or, getting into mediumship. So that has nothing to do with UFOs. It's totally different. So, and me, myself, I remember I, I'm very diverse in the way that I dress, the things that I like. So I went through the whole I want to wear a headdress phase, and I'm not laughing. There's nothing wrong with it at all, and I do it sometime. But I almost felt like there was something wrong if I wanted to be outside of that,
Mm,
if that
yeah.
makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
that makes
So
a lot of sense.
yeah, so I think as time goes on and you get more comfortable with yourself and the exploration phase, then it's like you realize it doesn't matter. What you like is what you like. If you want to have blue hair one day, have the blue hair. The next day, you might want to shave the head or the hair off. It's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And it's okay, especially in our community we tend to penalize people for being different or um, say that they're weird or you're corny. That's the word, corny. That
Yeah.
corny. But
Mhm.
it's who you are, and if you want to express yourself on the outside a certain way one day and a certain way another day, that has nothing to do with you, who you are, who you're learning to be, and whatever you're exploring or whatever you're delving into.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important message that I want to get out to all spiritual people. I don't even want to, but again, a label, all people who like to explore the metaphysical
Mhm.
or paranormal. It's okay. Don't label yourself. Don't put yourself in a box. You are who you are. I mean,
Yeah.
it's perfectly fine. I wish someone would have told me that in the beginning. That would
Yeah.
save a lot of
Yeah.
time, a lot of transitionals.
I know with I can pinpoint my true beginning of I'm going to take this exploring outside religion path serious.
Mhm.
Um, I was I was separated from my first husband, and I decided to go to Atlanta for Christmas. So this was 2015, 2016, I think. I don't know. Um,
Okay.
but while I was down there, couldn't sleep. You know, I say that was like my rock bottom because
Mhm.
I didn't. I know what I was doing. I thought I was doing everything right. Active in church, uh,
Mhm.
corporate career, had the kiddos. Well, I had
Mhm.
3 then. Um,
Mhm.
did the marriage thing, um, did the wife thing. I thought I was doing everything right. And then that whole
Mhm.
situation happened, and it was like, okay, something's off.
You feel it.
Clearly, following this path that
Mhm.
society says women are supposed to follow, this ain't it. Because if it was, I wouldn't be in this place right now where I'm questioning like everything.
Everything.
So I remember Facebook, Google, just searching for stuff. And I came across this forget what the site was, but it was a black woman that was talking about spirituality, um, being a witch, and how she kind of explained it. I've never saw it that way before. Really
Mm.
tying it to nature, really tying it to
Mhm.
who you really naturally are.
Right.
Um, and how she explained it really tied into how I was as a kid. Like I naturally just knew things, did things, and one of the things I always do was I don't know, say I got a burn, playing with something, or brush burn,
Mhm.
let's say that, something simple as a kid. I knew what like chemicals or things in the cabinet to mix together, and then I would place it on it, and then literally within a day it would be healed. So I always just
Mm.
naturally knew how to
You just knew.
mix
Yeah.
things and put things together. Um, so she kind of spoke on that. And of course, being at that rock bottom, I was like, okay, maybe I'm a witch. And that's the path I should start
Mhm.
following. So I started following
Mhm.
that witch path. But then
Which path?
it's always, and it's interesting.
Mhm.
And I don't know if we should dive into that now, but it's always interesting that it's always the witch path first. It's so many women that I run across that it's
Mhm.
always witch. When they try to search for anything, it
Yeah.
literally ties them to being a witch.
I
So
have a theory for that. I have a
me
theory.
too. Me too.
That's so true. I feel the same way. I think it's our connection to Earth. It's our
See,
connection to Earth. And I think that at a certain point, you hit that connection. I think there's a certain point where you start to feel it. And it's kind of like a pull, like
yeah,
almost like a gravitational pull.
yeah. Well, I was talking about
Yeah.
a different reason of why Google pulls us that way. But like I said, maybe we'll touch on that later. But yeah, so I started going on this journey of, oh, I'm a witch. But every time I would say that, something inside me was just like, no. So I stopped
Hmm.
saying it out loud. And then I joined this group called the Brown Brujas,
Hmm.
that this girl made, and I was in there, and I even started saying that out loud. But it was like something once again inside. I was like, no, like no,
Hmm.
there's more out there. And
Hmm.
then I came across Kemet, ancient Egypt,
Hmm.
and because Sekhmet started to come to me, so I
Okay.
started exploring that and learning about the different deities, the pantheons, the magic work. Once again, I understand that quite easily. It's even to the point like I can't say like I can read hieroglyphs because that's not really what they are, and that's another thing too. But I know that you're not supposed to actually read it like an alphabet. Like that always didn't sit well for me. And then
Mm.
I automatically knew that we're not supposed to read from left to right. Once again, we got flipped. Supposed to read from right to left. Um, and when you read the hieroglyphs, you're supposed to go from top down and over. And once that kind of triggered in me. Like it was like a memory of knowing how to do that. I understood quote unquote hieroglyphs better. So that path really hooked me out there.
Now what brought you there though? How did you
Um,
what drew you to that area
I think
of study?
once again, it was because I'm a Leo, so I've always had fascination with lions. And like I said, I always thought that was because I'm a Leo. But then Sekhmet started popping up to me. You know, she's the lion head. Actually, she's one of the lion head goddesses because there's actually another one that has a green head. So like I said, explored into this, I started learning the differences. But she started to pop up in places. And I just kind of like literally followed the breadcrumbs that she was laying for me. But there was a guy on YouTube. I can't remember his name. I'm gonna have to look him up and maybe put it in the description once I figure out what his name is. But I found him on YouTube. You know, when you start going on your journey, you start going to YouTube, see what
going down that rabbit hole.
you know, exploring to see, you know, what's out there so I can start feeding myself. And I came across, I think his name started with an R. But anyways, I started watching his videos and they were good. They were good. Gave a lot of in-depth information into understanding Kemet, understanding the pridefulness that we should have as Black people in our knowledge, our technology. He really touched on the fact that ancient isn't old. It's not.
Explain what that means.
Most of the time when people say ancient, we're thinking of like, you know, pyramids being built thousands of years ago and it's old. Or you come across like the I don't know, like Rome and all their, you know, the Colosseum and all that stuff. It's ancient. And most people associate ancient with old. Ancient, kind of how he spoke on it and how I come into the understanding of is advanced. It's so advanced that and it was so long ago, that's what makes it ancient. It doesn't make it old. It means that it's an advanced, older system. We'll say it like that. For example, can't nobody remake the pyramids. They can't do it. They cannot do it.
Yeah.
They've been around for how long? And they're one of the most sturdiest structures ever built. All pyramids, not just the ones in Giza, all the pyramids all over the world, they cannot duplicate that technology. It's technology. And they can't duplicate it. It's so advanced that they cannot duplicate that. They do this straight up, which is but anyways, so that was kind of my journey into Kemet. And that's what really made me be proud in who I am and being a Black person, you know, in the terms of what they speak of in Kemet. But I feel like once again, with everything that I've journeyed into, I hit the ceiling. And it wasn't a glass ceiling that you could break through. It was just a ceiling. And after a while, a lot of the information that he kept talking about, it was like, okay, now what? After I watched the video, I'm like, okay, now what? Because inside, but once again, he was stuck in the Kemet box. And a lot of people get stuck in the Kemet box. They get stuck in the witch box and they don't explore anything beyond that. And I think one of his videos, he was talking about, he was trying to like downplay quote unquote aliens being associated with the technology and the knowledge associated with Kemet. And something inside me was like, ding, that's it. And I was just like,
all ties together. Yeah.
So for him to downplay that, something was like, okay, you need to go explore that more. And that's when I pivot from off of Kemet into exploring into a lot of the cosmic things. And once I did that, that's when literally the channel of my true awakening from the higher realms down triggered. So yeah, that's kind of like my starting point of understanding why you shouldn't label yourself one thing or put yourself in a box, or when you feel like, okay, you reached, okay, that now what?
No.
Most people just stop there. I'm the person, I'm like, no, okay, there has to be something beyond that. So what's the next level, or which fork in the road am I taking? Because that's what it felt like. I was like, okay, now what? There has to be more to this. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in that Kemet world and learning that magic associated with it, because it just seems so natural of understanding that. Yeah. So.
But you see, it's important that you didn't stay stuck in that Kemet box, because you wouldn't be where you are now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's why we want to make it known to everybody, especially, you know, to other people in our community, and for Black women, it's okay to explore. It's totally okay. You don't know what lies behind you, what gifts, what treasures of information coming to you, if you just cut yourself off and say, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah. And it's good that you brought up the culture, the Black, because that's another thing too that I come across with people that look like us when they get into spirituality, being in a lot of those Facebook groups. And it's actually got to the point where I had to get out some of the, Black and spiritual groups and stuff like that, because they would bash like the white knowledge, their form of magic, their deities and stuff like that. Say that they, and this is the thing that frustrated me a lot, was that they stole everything from us. That's it's partial. It's not full. But once again, if you are coming in with that train of thought, then once again you're limiting yourself.
You're limiting yourself. Exactly.
If you do feel that they took our stuff, then that should be even more reason to go explore it. That's my thought process of it, when they were like, okay, they took this from her, they took, all right, well, cool. Well, then I'm gonna go venture into that and see where the dots are, so I could once again tie it back to us, or tie it back to a civilization that was doing it first. I'm always trying to get to the starting point of, okay, where does this begin? But when you try to downplay other people's cultures, other people's experiences, once again, you're limiting yourself, because guess what? We're not the only ones here.
Right. And like
we might have been the first ones here, but we're not the only ones here. And when you understand that Earth is like a university, it's university Earth. All the things that are happening here, all the different people, cultures, nations that are here, you got to learn from that. Because if it was just you here, then you just focus on you and anything and everything associated with you. But because you're not the only one here, you have to learn not only about yourself, but also about your surrounding and people that are surrounding you. Because then, for me, that helps me understand how they think. And I understand how they think and operate, because I learn where they're getting this stuff from.
Right. And you're really doing yourself a disservice by not delving into that, because once you separate yourself from other cultures, then you're missing something. Somehow you're going to miss something. If that information's available to you, there's a reason it's available to you. That's what I always think. I always think there's a reason for it to be available to me, whether I use it or not, but just to have knowledge of it, it's there for a reason.
I remember I was watching one of he was oh my God, his name just slipped from me, but he's Black Magic 363. Now he's he's 360 Empire now. He changed his channel name.
Oh yeah.
His name is
that the other day.
Rich. That's his name, Rich.
Yeah.
He didn't say this, but I remember seeing it in the comments. I was a while ago in one of his videos that he did, but someone kept talking about why does he keep referencing all these white people books? And the whole time I'm writing down
It's a
what
book.
these books are.
It's
Because
a
once
book.
again, it's information. It's information.
Yes,
So I'm going to go look up that white person's book and
right.
and look and read through the information. But at the same time, I take in what is for me and I leave the other stuff behind. And I'm not saying,
Discernment is the key.
yeah, but once again, the truth is hidden in a lot of the fluff because they don't give us. And I've noticed a lot of those authors, non-Black authors, should say that they'll put, once again, this is about learning symbolism and codes and all that stuff. They'll put the information out there in the center of it and then fluff it up with a whole bunch of bull crap or stuff that will distract you from really what the truth is. But if
the
you
real knowledge,
if you understand the coding system, if you understand the symbolism, if you understand what certain phrases mean, this is kind of the stuff that like people want to stay away from Freemasonry. Guess what? I joined because I want to know the codes. So when I'm reading regular quote unquote stuff, or I'm reading someone that was a Mason or part of one of those societies, when they put out information, shoot, even the artwork, all that artwork that they have up in those museums, like Leonardo and all that stuff, like those are coded messages. But if you don't understand their coding system, you'll never know what's so important about the Mona Lisa and all those things, because it's coded system. So if the book sounds interesting, I'm gonna go read it, and I'll take the information that resonates and I'll leave the rest there. But to say, why are we referencing other people's stuff? It's all valuable information, but you gotta once again take yourself off those limits, take yourself out the box. And if you're really serious about doing this journey and doing this path and being a truth seeker, you gotta dive into the areas that you think are off limits to you.
Yes, for sure. Like I said, you don't know what's waiting behind that book that you say is not or off limits. You don't know what's in there for
or
you.
that
something in there.
Oh, that's another thing that's big in our culture too, is Freemasonry. People are scared of it. For what? For what? It's just coded information. That's it. And then some of it's not even that coded. It's really right in front of your face. But once again, they got y'all so scared of your stuff that you're afraid to go get it, So yeah, it's and that's one of the things I learned when I initiated. I thought had to push through that fear, because there was that fear associated, because that's what we grew up in. That's scary stuff, that's devil worship, blah blah blah. So of course I'm nervous, like I'm really pushing against what our culture says that we're supposed to do. But at the same time, there's so many frats and sororities, and guess what? They're all tied to Freemasonry, if you don't know. They're all tied to it. Where do you think they get their Greek letters and all that stuff from? So obviously it can't be that scary if we have, a large population of sororities and fraternities out there. And a lot of them, the male fraternities, because obviously there's, I'm part of a men and women international Freemasonry. But there's also stickler about that. But for a lot of the fraternities, like that's literally their way into Freemasonries.
I just saw a TikTok where someone said that that Freemasonry was there was a Black person, and Eastern Stars is demonic, and that the fraternities are also demonic.
Sure,
but
go
with
ahead.
no,
you keep thinking that. Yeah.
No evidence, substance, no like, well, this is why I saw the devil out. And he said, hey,
well, there was one person it was a while, once again, a while ago. They said that, and they did it was a beautiful video, a breakdown of how like joining a sorority or a fraternity. Well, I think his focus more was on fraternity.
Mhm.
Was, evil or something like that, something weird, because they pledge themselves to something. Like literally, it's the pledge. Uh, they pledged themselves to something, and they said that's the way in for the demon or whatever to get to them, because they pledged themselves to something. Anything and everything can be found on the internet now, because a lot of the secrets from the secret societies, they're all over the place now, because people just they joined and then they purposely would leak stuff. So I actually did a search to find one of the pledges, and he's right. They pledged to the fraternity.
Mhm.
They pledge their allegiance to the brotherhood or whatever.
Mhm. Right.
But guess what? Y'all asses up in school pledging allegiance to a goddamn flag.
I was just going to say.
But y'all don't think nothing wrong with that.
No, people don't.
Because as soon as I read the pledge, I was like, it's very similar to.
I don't
They
think
teach
people.
a child to
Yes.
pledge allegiance to something.
Yeah. I don't think people really understand that essentially everything is rooted in some sort of ritual
Magic.
or
Everything's
yes.
magic.
I mean, I think
Everything.
you know what one of the best representations I'd have to say I've seen on TV? Lovecraft Country. Did you see that on HBO?
Oh my God. I was pissed when they didn't renew. I still don't understand why they haven't renewed that.
No,
like,
I think it was because it was too much. It was too.
Oh my God. But
I'm telling you.
Freaking Tubi could pick it.
I just. That. If you look at everything that we do in this society, there is some form of ritual, or there is some form of allegiance, like you say. Everything is rooted in magic.
Everything's magic. Everything.
I don't know why everybody don't see that though.
Mm-hmm. Like you blowing out your candles.
You're blowing your candle out. Happy birthday.
Like, come on.
Christmas. You bring in the evergreen tree and you laying presents underneath the tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's surrounded by a lot of stuff. But yeah, yeah, they get you early.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it. So yeah. But it's done purposely to keep you from exploring, keep you from knowing truth. My biggest one that I did an interview a while ago, and I brought this up online, and I think I kind of shocked the person that was doing the interview, because you're supposed to stay away from saying anything about Hitler and the Nazis and stuff like that. Oh no, you can't talk about that. But guess what? One of the key things that happened after me exploring Kemet and realizing, okay, I hit the top of the tier of learning about it. Now what? And the thought process of, okay, go into the things they tell you not to go into. So I started to go deeper into understanding the Kemet pantheon, specifically Sekhmet, Sobek, Anubis, and then something triggered me to be like, why don't you go into Hitler? So I was like, okay, fuck it, I'll go into Hitler. Everyone should Google Hitler and the Nazi, especially the symbol, because they've demonized that symbol. That symbol been around for centuries. When we talk about ancient, no, that's fine. When we talk about ancient symbols, that Nazi symbol is ancient. Like you can find it in almost every single culture, and it's associated with, you can say, the Arctic region and the four rivers that are up there. That's what it stands for. But once again, since they kind of demonized that, people don't explore what that symbol means originally anymore. Once again, done on purpose. But yeah, I recommend everyone to Google why, what was World War II really about? Why was it really focused on him? And why there's a treaty with almost all the nations. You can see all the nations of United Nations. They have a treaty that no one can claim the Arctic.
Antarctica.
No one can claim it.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
If you're open to learning, if you're open to learning and exploring, you will find that out. That's why we say, don't stop.
Don't stop.
Power. There's power in knowing that. There's power in knowledge.
A lot of knowledge. Also, the simple fact, when you explore into him and the technology that they have, technology that literally skyrocketed United States technology, because when that whole regimen got, you could say, dismantled, they took them in over here.
There's a movie. There's the Prime or something.
There's a lot of movies about that. They took them in. They're
Pacino's in it. It's
a lot of the NASA technology and information and the minds behind NASA is. Come on over. y'all got some good stuff. So and then a lot of when you look into a lot of that technology, and you explore who he was in contact with, then that opens up to a whole other reality of where did this technology really come from? Because it's not something that humans were doing. And it's known that he was in contact with. It wasn't an extraterrestrial. They call it interdimensional.
There was a famous, a beautiful woman. What was her name? That was, I think she was believed to be Pleiadian. Oh, what is her name? And she worked with him. I do believe that she was believed to be Pleiadian. Beautiful woman. Is it Maria Orsich or?
And what was she? Like, what did she do?
I have to look. She was a visionary, psychic. I guess she just like gave information and worked with them. I don't remember the whole entire premise of her connection with him, but I remember seeing a picture of her, and she was, just drop dead gorgeous, and she was believed to be, I think, Pleiadian. I want to say Maria, or I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah. Obviously, that's something we can add into the description, because I'm interested in.
Yeah,
I want to know.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why we're saying it's perfectly fine. It's okay. It's okay. Seek. You never know where it could take you. We got to stop being afraid to do that. I think that's an inherent problem. I really do. I think it's been passed down for generations, way back. We weren't allowed to read. And then when we did read, it was like, you're not allowed to be but so smart. And,
it's also a societal thing. They didn't want us to ask questions. Exactly. They're training us to be sheep. I talked about that before. Like, they're training us to just go along with whatever they say. We're here to, that whole facade. We're here to protect you and make sure everything's okay. And then on the flip side, they doing all types of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But and we kind of dived into this a little bit towards the end of the first episode. It's like voodoo. Like, some people are afraid to explore that. They'll go hoodoo. They'll Ifa. They'll go to Santa Rita, but they will not go near voodoo, which so many wars, so many battles. Shoot, the whole Haitian, what was it? The French and what was the one? Wow, my mind just went blank. But
Too much in there.
yeah, they what was the
Where do you
Haitian?
think that fear comes from of that? Because it truly it
Because
is a religion.
it's been instilled in us.
Yeah.
I associate it with the curse, the curse that we're under. It's literally a spell that we're under, because I forget how this came into my thought of thinking, but someone mentioned it. And once again, when I come across stuff that makes sense, like there's like a ding that goes off inside me, like that's it, that's it, go that way, follow that. So someone was, I think it was Rod Hayes. He mentioned something about that, and something was like ding, follow that, right there. And I started looking into it, and just for me, it was just like blinders, just kind of like,
Opened up.
if you understand that, then you would understand why there's like this amnesia with us, why we don't know who we are. And it's even to the point, like, even when we start to go into trying to learn who we are, something happens. Like for me, I get a lot of distractions.
Yes.
Like when I start to come across stuff that is like, holy crap, all of a sudden kids might start acting crazy, or something happens at work, and then I'm thrown off for a couple days, and I completely forget about everything that I just learned until like 2 weeks later, something might pop up and say, oh man, I was doing that and I came across that, and now I have to go through this refresher phase. But I feel like that's part of this spell that has been cast on us, that keeps us from really knowing who we are, because as long as we're under this quote unquote spell, this other sector of people can do the stuff that they're doing, and we see it, but we don't understand it, even though it's our shit, even though it's truly affecting us. But you got to break through that. So when I started seeing the pattern, I'm very good at picking up patterns. Of I come across deep information, and then something would happen. Fight with the husband, something with the work, something with the kids. I might get sick. Something major would happen where it would just completely throw me off track. And then, like I said, a couple weeks, sometimes a month will go by, and I'm like, oh man, I fell for it again. Because it's a pattern. It's a pattern. But once I see the pattern, that's when I'm like, okay, let me step back. Whatever this is, let's kind of clear it out, and then I'm back
and
on
go back, focusing back
on it.
Yeah, there's a reason for that distraction, for sure. I do want to ask too, let's touch a little bit on when you said we're under a spell, because that's another thing. There's a misconception, and I don't fully know. I think people think spell is like this. I don't know. I'm even trying to think, like, what did I think it was? But let's touch on, so that our viewers can understand, when you say spell or spell work, it's not like this fairyland unicorn thing. It could be, but in essence, it is a intention. It is words that are spoken. It is, I would say, it would be, yes,
it's intentional.
It's intentional actions or intentional processes to get a certain result. It's not this, well, I mean, like, again, it could be. There's a lot. Yeah. It's not like, well, I have to have a unicorn horn and a piece of buckthorn.
Oh, we can't get those no more, though.
And,
they don't like us anymore.
It's not necessarily that. It can be something as simple as someone's attention or group thought. So when she's saying spell, it's not necessarily, oh, there was like a group of witches doing, oh, my pretty, we're making a spell. The pure intention of a group of individuals or a nation in this way that she's speaking toward it, with the same thought or intention towards someone or somebody else, in essence, is a spell. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know. So I wanted to touch on that because I think it's important that we dispel some of these thought processes
Yeah.
that a lot
As
of us
you're talking,
have.
I'm like, I have a lot of stuff. So, and the thing that came to mind instantly when you said describe what this spell could be,
Mhm.
two things came up, but both of them are associated with energy
Mm,
because everything is
yes.
energetic. Everything
Everything.
has a frequency or energy to it. So one of the things that kind of came up was, have you noticed just with like we'll say fashion,
Mhm.
that the same thing keeps coming around?
Mhm.
The bell bottoms
Cycles. Yep.
come back. It's even to the point, I remember when I was in college, J Lo wore those heeled Tim looking boots.
Yeah, I
And
remember
I
those.
wanted one of those so bad, but of course the original ones were expensive. So my mom made me find an inexpensive pair and she got them for me. And I had those shoes for the longest until, I had kids, feet grew, and I couldn't wear them no more. So I had to get rid of them. I think it was last year I saw them again.
They out again. Yeah.
Cycle
90s
back.
is rolling. 90s is
They
rolling
cycle
back in.
back. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what you would call an energetic. I won't even say energetic, you just call it spell. So
Mm-hmm.
it's manipulating energy. That's what spell, magic, all that stuff. It's just manipulating energy. So you do it through nature, you do it through blood work, you could do it through anything. But once again, everything is energy. So that's a perfect example of being stuck in a spell, because, or some people call it a time loop. Because once again, people don't see magic and certain things associated with each other, but they are. Everything's tied to each other. So a lot of people talk about being a time loop, like we're stuck in a time loop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're stuck in a spell. I'll use time loop, you use spell, or I use spell, you use time loop. But that's a perfect example that like the same stuff keeps cycling through. TV shows, movies, that's another one. They keep remaking
Remaking.
same movies. Like you're telling
Mm-hmm.
me all these people can't come up with something new, that they can have to keep remaking the same stuff over and over and over and over again. Let's do Moana, and then do the second Moana. Well, let us do a live version. Like you're telling me you can't come up with something new, but they keep recycling through the same. This is a time loop. That's a spell. Perfect example. But how they initiate these spells or a cycling of energy, you can think of it as modern technology now, like that sewing machine.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally magic right there. It's
Yep.
manipulating energy, where
Manipulating. Exactly.
they're literally messing with timelines when they're using that machine. They're messing with dimensions and opening up portals and stuff like that. But that's using technology, like literally modern technology, to do that. Now, when we talk about ancient, like I said, that's advanced, older technology. So through that, they would use the sun, or they use the moon, or they use a collective of people. You even say that, collective of people with the same attention, same frequency, saying the same chants, that then create a certain manipulation of the energy in the atmosphere where they're at. And then boom, you can imagine. But that's what we're talking about when we talk about magic. Like literally you speaking certain
Yeah.
things on people, that's a frequency that you're sending to that person that's interrupted in their aura field, and you're speaking stuff on them. It could be good things, it could be bad things. But once again, it's very simple, because this space that you think that you have in front of you that you think is just air, it's not. It's the unseen connection, unseen frequency. They call it dark matter, dark energy. They think it's just out there. No, it's this. There's really no space between us. We're all connected in some type of way. So when you're speaking on someone, you're manipulating that energy field. You're manipulating that matter, that unseen matter. Let's just say that, and it's affecting anything and everything around you. That's a spell that you could just individually on someone else or on yourself or on a plant or whatever. But then when you intensify that with people, or once again, you use a machine like CERN, then that's how you get a global spell, or a spell that's specific to certain people with a genetic code.
Right.
Yes. So once again, yeah.
And I think, like I said, it's important because we don't always get that explanation. I know I didn't. I had to discover that, and that came over time to understand that. So that's another important part of us being here. We're breaking this stuff down so that people that are listening or watching can actually maybe pick up some things, maybe quicker than I know, quicker than what I did to get to this point. It took a long time to get to this point and understand all this. But it's important. And then once you start to break it down, it actually opens you up to more knowledge, and it helps you to go through and go about your daily life. It really does. It really does. When you understand the breakdown of it all, then you start to see, oh, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, well, that's why it is, you know what I mean? So you can connect the dots on everything, and it really does help you in your daily life. It really does. But again, seeking that knowledge, not being afraid to get out of that box of whatever title or label that you're putting on yourself. You got to seek.
Yeah. Don't confine yourself to one thing. Like I used to call it spiritual ADHD. Because
shiny.
once I started, was like, oh, I want to know it all. And you gotta be careful because you get overloaded. But I would get a book, I start reading it, and then I'll come across another subject of wanting to know something. So then I go dive in that, and then I'll go dive into something else, and then take a moment like, oh my God. And then it's like, oh man, I didn't finish that book, or I didn't finish that book. But then mentor was like, that's just how you learn. You are able to understand a lot. So of course you're going to want to dibble and dabble and everything. And say you read that book for, I don't know, 2 chapters and then that was it. That's fine. That's what you needed. That's fine. Because I always go back to that book maybe later. And that's interesting. So I want to bring this up because when you was talking about your downloads earlier, I was going to mention that I had something happen too, but then you didn't want to tell me, so I was like, I don't want to tell you either. So
I'm gonna tell you later. We ain't got time.
But no, what was I? I'm looking up like different deities to add to my sanctuary, because like I said, my sanctuary is me. So I wanted to represent a lot of the energies, because when I talk about deities, gods and stuff like that, to me they're energies. They're like elders. That's how I associate with them. So I wanted to figure out, okay, who do I want to put it in place? So I could kind of open it up to see who wants to be added to the place. So I'm doing a search on Temu, and Sobek once again comes up. And we got a little history. Like, he's on my personal altar. When I had my first initiation into being, I guess reinitiating back into being a daughter of Sekhmet, he was a part of that initiation. We'll talk about that. You're like, what? Yeah, we'll talk about that. But he was there. He was part of that initiation. So let me step back. Sobek is the alligator deity in the ancient Egyptian Kemet pantheon. So an image of him popped up. So I was like, okay, let me add him to my cart. So that was probably like Thursday. And then Saturday, I'm just wandering around in my shop and I pick up one of the books I have on the shelf. And surprisingly, there was already a bookmark in it. So I just opened it. And it was talking about the priest of, I can't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, Dejhaj. So Djehdi or something like that. But it was about the priesthood and ancient priesthood and Kemet. And Sebek was right there when I opened the book. It was talking about him.
No coincidence. No coincidence.
Yeah. And how his celestial constellation was what we call now the Big Dipper.
Really?
Yes. So, interesting enough, I noticed when I become an awareness of certain things, certain stars pop out to me. And all of a sudden, this one star, well, actually it's three, because it's like two, and then the one is really bright at the end. It's like looks like a kind of like a tail. Was very in my awareness now. And then of course I pull out my app and I look, and it's the Big Dipper. And I'm like, but I always see why? And I always see the square, but it's not the square that's popping out to me, it's the tail part. And then it's also kind of close to Orion in the sky. So I was like, okay, that's just weird. But lately, like I said, those three stars with the really bright one has been popping out to me more even than Orion. So to come across this information, to learn that his constellation was what we now call the Big Dipper. Of course, the Greeks and stuff, they changed all that stuff, which then erased the history of why he was associated with that constellation. Is because he deals with timelines. And of course, even with like the Farmer's Almanac and all that stuff, and a lot of those cultures, they associate the Big Dipper with when to plant certain things.
Right.
They associated when the rivers were going to be flooded, when they're going to be droughted and all that stuff. He was associated with all of that. So once again, came into my awareness on Thursday, then read this in the book on Saturday. Of course, I'm going through chat GPT to just give me more information, because of course, when I first put it in there, it made it seem like he had no association with that constellation. But then when I fed in that particular paragraph from the book into chat GPT, it unlocked it. And it gave me all this information. And I'm just like, wait, what? So yeah. So that was my download on.
No coincidences.
No coincidence at all.
And that's another thing. You follow those gut feelings, follow those little, like you said, breadcrumbs. Because when you're going through your awakening process, they're going to be thrown at you.
They are.
I guarantee you. I can't even tell you how many books have been like either at a store, on the floor somewhere.
Yeah, they fall at your feet.
Yeah. Or something I had in the house and just didn't know. Like, I don't know if, at one point in time, everybody was just buying books and there's just books in my house. So, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that was there. Like, things will just come to you, and they'll come to you in such a pure and genuine way that it's like, you can't ignore it. You'd be crazy to ignore it.
Yeah. Like I said, like I said, those three stars, and I'm just like, why all of a sudden is this in my awareness? And I always kept it there. So obviously, whatever is supposed to be associated that could come in, but I just thought that was interesting. And then all of a sudden, Sebek popped up, and then that correlation, it was like, oh, that's why they're in my awareness. That's cool.
See. So everybody, you got to be open. You got to be open and it's okay to continue your exploring. There's something there for you. There is something there for you. Just you.
Yeah.
So important.
All right.
My goodness.
Anything else? Because
there's a lot going on in this head right now, but I'm trying to keep it down and at a minimum right now.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So yeah. So don't limit yourself. Explore the things that that's another thing. Explore the things that scare you too. Like we even touched on voodoo real quick, because a lot of people are scared of that, and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't. Just explore it, because you never know. I know when I expose myself to anything, you'll know. Like as for me, it's that ding. Someone goes off and let me know, okay, you're supposed to be following that, or you're supposed to be going that. Or I purposely listen to different, people speaking on YouTube and stuff. And that's another thing too. Sometimes I listen to stuff and it's like, man, I ain't feeling this. But then I'll force myself to still listen, because it's still information, and it's good to know that my discernment is like, that don't make no sense, or that's not legit, or whatever. For me, it might be legit for other people. For me, it's not resonating. But there's still nuggets in there. Because sometimes they might speak on something and they might not fully understand what they're talking about. But then once again, I have to get that ding. And then I'll explore it myself, and then I get the real truth, or the real information that I needed from that little nugget that they were talking about.
Right.
So yeah, sometimes force yourself to listen to controversial people or controversial information, because once again, what you need will come from that, and whatever don't need to be for you, it just fall off. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a big thing. People say certain podcasters, I can't stand her. I don't watch her. I don't like him. I can't stand him. Or he's racist. She was racist. Have you watched it?
For yourself.
You know what I mean? Have you watched it for yourself? Have you? Because there's a couple that are very controversial, but you can get some things for them.
Something.
Things from them. You can.
To the point, like I said, sometimes you just learn how they think.
Exactly, that happens too.
Like,
and another thing about this whole process, this whole learning process, is we're so afraid to do it, but nobody has to know that you're doing it. If you're still, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's kind of like therapy. Black people are so afraid of therapy. We're so afraid of delving into the metaphysical. Nobody has to know. You don't have to be on a podcast like us. Took me a long time to get here. But
yeah, no one needs to know what you're doing.
No one needs to know. But if it's going to benefit
and it's not
you, why not?
Bad or anything. It's just and unfortunately social media has put it in everyone's head that you have to put your whole entire life
life. Oh my gosh.
Even if it's fake, you just got to be out there. No one needs to know your business.
No.
This type of stuff we're talking about, you don't talk about it with everybody. Don't. That's just common sense. Most people don't have common sense, but that's common sense. Like you don't, because most people, I've come across a lot of people, like they come across this type of information and they feel, I gotta spread it to everybody and force them to understand what they're doing to us.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just like, nah, bro, that was for you.
That was for you. Exactly. It was for you.
If someone brings it up, we'll talk about it with them. But other than that, I keep my stuff to myself. I'm not out there spreading it. Now, if someone comes to me for services or someone asks me something, then you might get the full spill from me. Other than that, I'm not out here just giving this information to everybody or trying to convince people that, the news is tricking you about stuff. Like, no. I let people live their life. Even my own immediate family. Sometimes it's hard having these listening to them complain about certain stuff, or doing Carol's evil and all. That's fine. I can have that opinion. That's cool. I just say here,
it's okay.
Well, I don't think you want to come to my house then.
Oh my goodness. You might not. Yes.
I don't think you, if you go in the basement, I don't think you want to hit that one corner because the door might be open. You might see things. I don't know. You might see something.
But with that being said, if there's something that you guys want to see us conversate about, or any questions or something that you want to touch on or topic, leave that in the comments. And that'll be a good topic for us to talk about. And, you know, you may not have, just like this is why we're forming this podcast. There weren't many people for us to talk about these topics with, but each other. So we figured, hey, there got to be other people out there that want to have these conversations. So if you have something you want to talk about on the metaphysical level, paranormal level, or just anything at all,
personal level, understanding.
Yes, put it in the comments. Hey, we'll talk about it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, this was a good one.
This was a good one. Yeah.
That's a good one. All right. What you got to say? You're famous.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
Let's build a community. Let's
definitely,
go.
Definitely. So you can find us also on Facebook, also on Instagram. TikTok's being funny.
They haven't changed. Didn't they have a change of ownership or something going on?
I don't know, but
Yeah,
I did make us a page, and all of a sudden it's gone. So I don't know. But anyways, everyone enjoy your night. Go have a snowball fight or something if you're one of the people that got dumped on the snow.
Stay warm, everybody.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.